Two. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Ides of March episode of the Conspiracy Keepers. And just a few days before St. Patty's Day, before Jesus goes out, goes on a bender and gambles all his money away. Hi, gang.
Scooter, because he's Irish?
Well, he's Irish Catholic.
Aha.
Irish Roman Catholic conservative nationalist.
All right.
Wow. Welcome to the Ides of March, everybody.
Welcome.
All right.
So I had to look it up, and the Ides of March is the 74th day of the Roman calendar.
Correct.
Okay.
And it was a day where religious observances happened in Roman times, and also a day to settle debts.
That's right. Who owes me money?
Well, let's see what that debt was from the Roman Senate to its leader.
It's also associated with bad luck.
After that happened, huh, Scooter?
Yeah.
Yes. And then most famously with Shakespeare putting it to literature with Julius Caesar and his assassination. And it was the soothsayer who in Roman times, not like now, but you didn't dare speak misinformation or propaganda.
Whatever.
As it was under penalty of death, not putting you in jail or Facebook prison, but, and this wasn't throwing you to the lions and crucifixion nonsense. You were just dead. Period. This is Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Stabbed in the hallway.
In the world of the politicians now, let's be clear. If thumbs down with Caesar, you were dead. There was no negotiating, debating, condemning, outreach, sanctions. The sanction under Caesar was death. And the character of the soothsayer of Roman times was the court jester, as Nero or Caesar or any of the emperors in their dictatorial times, but it was the comedian that entertained Caesar's court. And it is in literature that the soothsayer warned Caesar, beware the Ides of March, in that the emperor was naked. He was 400 pounds. He had a small penis.
Oh, boy.
The people were onto him. Beware, Caesar. You're about to be taken out. And then in the Roman Senate, who was to be an ally in the triumvirate. If listeners remember, we talked the difference between the triumvirates of Roman times versus the Italians and the use of the cupola, the table. And Caesar, along with his co-senators, approached Caesar, encircled him, and brutally stabbed him to death, with Brutus delivering the first blow when Caesar looked at him and said, "Et tu, Brute," meaning, you too, Brutus?
You too, Brutus? Right.
You were all in on this? And when Brutus, again, Brute is how you'd say Brutus in Latin. And upon Brutus's stab to Caesar, it allowed all of the other senators to equally stab, so that all of the senators had blood on their hands, but that it was for the better good of Rome. And
so it was 44 BC that day became forever tainted. Backlash.
Yeah,
that was
22's in there.
Yeah.
And just the numerology of that, Joe, of 44.
Right.
And 315. And the other thing Jackie and I were talking about the other day off camera was that we're approaching the vernal equinox. And in talking of the holidays and the Romans and the Greeks versus the pagans or the Druids, but that they followed a celestial calendar and celebrated those high holidays. And the equal of spring, the vernal equinox, I believe, is 321 or 320, depending upon where on the globe you are. And that gives us the 12 hours of daylight and the 12 hours of darkness.
Hey, I didn't know this, that the Ides of March used to be New Year's Day.
Again, the difference between a Gregorian calendar and the Roman calendar.
Exactly.
And that those dates have kind of moved, but modern history or literature kind of puts the Ides of March as 315
so
on the Gregorian calendar.
Right. So calends, nones, and Ides are the ancient markers used to reference the dates in relation to the lunar phases. That's cool. Between the 13th and 15th. Wow, I'm learning so much.
And the Ides are just 15s.
Wowie zowie.
Well, like Roman numerals, Jack, you were talking the X and the V and the I. Ides is a mid. So if there's 30, then it's 15. If there's 40, there'd be 20. You just reference Ides as a middle point of the number.
Right.
For division.
Okay. The other it was also the 74th day in the Roman calendar. Those two together come out to be 11.
Right. Well, I mean,
it's knowledge you guys are imparting.
Well, you know what? If you think about our calendars, aren't what they're telling us that they are. Because if you think about October, I mean, Oct means 8.
Right.
But it's not the 8th month. So a lot of like for September and all that, I mean, they're off as far as what they're telling us that they actually mean. Are we really living in the times that we think that we are?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because the month says something different than the number that should correspond to them. I know. Think about that. I know.
Last night, I think Elon Musk is right. I think the odds of us not living in a computer simulation at this point are 1,000,000 to 1. The system seems so wonky now. If they told us tomorrow, guess what? You have been living in a computer simulation. This would then explain a great many things. And I heard a very good argument. Jackie, remember when they turned CERN on?
Yeah.
We were talking about that and creating a little black hole. What if right before when Trump got elected and they turned CERN on, what if that was the moment we went into the AI simulation and we just, again, like in Star Trek, you get in the holodeck and you don't know. And somehow we just were there now. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I see what you're saying, but I don't think that we're in a simulation per se in that sense. I think the people that are controlling us and manipulating us want us to believe that we're someplace that we're not. You know, they want to be the ones with the knowledge and they don't want us to have it. So it'll seem like a simulation to us because they want to move us around at their will, just like chess pieces. So that's why I'm wondering about the month, because December Deca means something else than the number of the course. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So it seems like they're almost like giving us clues that you are not moving along this timeline like you think that you are. Only they know what's going on.
Okay,
I know.
That is 10 kinds of disturbing.
I know. I know.
Every bit of it. Because the other is, if we do find out we're in a simulation, I would like to talk to IT and change a few things around. I mean, come on.
Okay, here's one thing that isn't debatable, and that is the astronomy and astrology, because that's based on the stars and the planet positions. And you know the old saying, millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do. That's because they're the ones who control. Now, I was just watching. Remember, I was telling you guys about Braca Goldsmith before. She's a world-renowned astrologer and also a Pleiadian channel. But anyway, she was mentioning what was coming up as far as for 2022. And even next month, April 12th, Jupiter in Neptune coming together in Pisces means there's a portal that's going to open for more and more people to wake up and to gain the knowledge, if they're seeking it, of awakening and further knowledge in any subject that you're interested in. So that's going to happen, but that has nothing to do with the calendar, whether it's goofed up, whether it's really March, whether it's really January, December, October,
right.
You know, that has nothing to do with it because the planets don't have, calendars.
Right. I hear what you're saying. And the people with the knowledge know that. The point I was making was they were just trying to keep us in the dark about where we don't know exactly where we are. Right.
Of course, Joe. Of course.
Yes.
That's a given. But that's why you do follow astrology. You should follow astrology and astronomy and follow the experts who do that. Why do you think President Reagan had what's her name, Jean Dixon, up to the White House every 15 minutes? And remember how ridiculed he was, and Nancy was ridiculed for doing this. But they knew something we didn't. I mean, what are the good days for you to do things? If you have your astrological chart done by a true professional, man, this guy Chad Meek did mine, and it was insane. I'm like looking at the thing going, really? I could do that? I mean, if you follow those dates and stuff like that for your specific astrological chart, things can change for you. You have special energies because of the planetary alignment. And if people don't believe that, I don't know. I say that every show, though. How do you get people to believe that there's a whole secret group of knowledge that we're not allowed to have?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Ronald Reagan didn't make a decision militarily or otherwise without consulting exactly what you were saying. Absolutely. So,
April 12th, the portal of awakening, allowing more souls to seek or to find the information that they're looking for. It's Jupiter and Neptune coming together in Pisces. And we are leaving the age of Pisces and we're going into the age of Aquarius.
That's right.
And she was making the point where the age of Pisces is where we as human beings talk about the, Catholic Church or any other church, telling us that there's going to be a savior that appears, to save us all.
Elon Musk.
The Christ is coming back and all that stuff. Well, the Christ is within you. And even Christ said that. So that's not happening. That's an old age that is going away. That's the old age that's going away, that we're sitting around waiting for the, in other words, the savior is without you instead of within you. That age is ending. And that's not something that we could ever control. That's the stars, the planets, and the knowledge from the mystery schools.
Jackie, is that moment in time then as we exit the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius? Is that April 12th of 2022?
No, that's just a portal. The other thing that is happening is the Pluto and Capricorn. When that happens, that's 3 times this year. One time was already in February, and then we have another occurrence in July and another one in December. And that is when the old power structures are crumbling. The United States government, all these things are going to come to light, and these things are going to crumble. Whether it's the beginning of the crumbling to our knowledge, to us seeing it, or if it's the crumbling and then we later see it. I mean, we already know, and people who watch the show already know. Am I right?
What are those dates, Jackie?
I'll get the exact dates for you. I was just watching the Reader's Digest version, but it's 2 dates, one in July and then the other one in December. And this is about the old power crumbling and that governance losing its hold on people. Governance.
Would that also not just be us, but let's say Russia?
Well, I don't know about that. What do you guys think? Because I don't think so. I think that Russia, Ukraine, United States, they're all being controlled by, that 4% of the world's population.
Right. Yeah, you're
They're
exactly
the puppets.
right.
They're the puppets. The 1% of the 1%, they have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And then they're controlling these little 4%ers like Putin.
Right. Yeah. I think the illusion that nations hate each other and they're planning strategies against each other, I think that's a whole manipulation. They're all being controlled by the same people. So they crash nations when they want to, and they rise nations up when they want to. It's the people that own the money. If you own the money, then you own everything.
Sure. And we've seen that with the history of World War
Absolutely.
World War II, the Revolutionary War was even engineered, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
And let alone that horrible, horrible Civil War. Any war, but back then they had to make people kill each other. Now they can manipulate us through electronics.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So yeah, the whole concept of the Cold War and all that was all manipulated to make us think that Russia hates us and we hate them. Now, some of the lower people on the lower totem pole, they might, but the people that are controlling, they're both being played by the same people, and they always have been. So we see the same thing going on now. This is exactly what's going on now. They never changed their tactics.
And haven't they done such an amazing job between the Palestinians and the Jewish population in Jerusalem? I mean, they are so hardly programmed to hate one another.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
How about the oligarchs driving their planes and boats and stuff like that over to Jerusalem?
Yeah, well, and it's the same thing that we see going on over here. That's the whole point behind our political system between the left and the right paradigm, is they want the left to hate the right and the right to hate the left. That's what they want. They love civil wars. They love, especially racial conflicts. They love to start that because that divides the people like no other division does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Racial and religious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Well, it's the same thing.
And I say that because in all of these headlines that I'm doing every night, and we have the crisis here and the protests there and the hate crimes there, and even Backlash, your hamsters are about to get a real workout on the wheel. It seems like just yesterday that the Catholics and the Protestants put their swords and weapons and their pipe bombs and their gas bombs down in Belfast. And the international world news is talking about rumblings of, after only a few decades of peace, there could be another up. Are you out of your mind? We are too drunk to be able to get together again. It's going to take a generation of kids. Whether it's race works really well. That's the race card, but religion was always the play of the masters to the people. And I find it beyond pathetic that in all the fear tactics they're using with, the Russians bombing a mosque in Ukraine to now a potential crisis with the Irish and the Protestants. And it's like, and I feel so sorry and so bad for the mouth breathers who watch the news. Oh, you feel horrible. Oh, I saw it on TV. It must be true.
Oh yeah, right. I know. Well, just like we were talking about a little bit earlier, politics, that saying that you don't argue or bring up politics or religion. Well, people don't understand that politics is a religion. They're both the same thing. That's why people get so upset about them. They get so upset about either one because politics is a religion. If you're a Republican, Democrat, whatever you think they are, that's a religion. You don't think that you are, but it is. It's an
ideology. It's your faith. Yeah.
Of course it is. Exactly. And that's why you can't change people's mind or on any of those platforms, because it's accepted on faith, right? So if somebody's accepting on faith, you're not going to change their mind, even if logically you can show them that no, this isn't the way it works. Doesn't matter. They're going to have faith in it. That's why Republicans are always Republicans, Democrats are always Democrats. You very seldom see somebody switch over to one side or the other, because faith doesn't work that way.
True.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say it's never too early to start drinking. Ready to open up another can of a bottle of Jack.
Schlitz malt liquor, baby.
Oh man.
But here's the thing about all that stuff and about everything we talk about. It doesn't have to make you feel like the world is ending, even though it is. Because according to those in the metaphysical world. We chose to come into this lifetime because of the excitement of it, and because you can clear a lot of karma coming to this lifetime during this time. Lots and lots.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Right. And yeah, and I've heard people talk about that before, that, you know, you made the choice to come here at this particular time.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm on board with that, but I'm at least willing to listen to people that think that, to why they think that and where they think it's going.
Well, the overall thinking is that we have to come here for many, many lifetimes. We have to learn a lot of lessons as human beings and as souls. And as a soul, we choose to incarnate on this planet, and we have to learn all the lessons that there are. Supposedly, God said when he threw out all the sparks and created all the souls, he said, I want you to come back to me and bring me all the information. I want every emotion explored. I want every situation explored. Now, our little minds can't really wrap ourselves around this concept because it's so big. It's just like we see 1% of the electronic light spectrum, right? We see 1%.
Right. Yeah, right.
So imagine what the other 99% of it looks like. And then multiply that into forever, infinitum. Who's the one who's good at Latin? Anyway, is that you, Scooter?
Well, I know one thing. I know on the back of the dollar bill, and the eye in the triangle, it says "Annuit Ceptus Novus Ordo Seclorum," which is Latin for means announcing the birth of the new order of the ages. That I know.
Yep. But
now, how long has that been on the dollar bill, or any of the bills?
Let's see. Was it Truman that put on the dollar bill? I think it was Truman. Scooter, do you know? I think it was Truman, or was it FDR that put it on the dollar bill?
I believe it was one of FDR's.
Yeah, I think it was FDR.
Buddies.
I think it was FDR. Right.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I forget his name. It was not FDR. It was one of his, I believe, Masonic Lodge brothers.
Of course.
It may have been one of his fraternity brothers, because wasn't I forget if he was a bonesman, if FDR was a bonesman. I don't have my FDR notes at the top of my head right now. But I believe it was under FDR.
Okay, yeah.
What we know as the modern day greenback, the dollar, In God We Trust, the pyramid, the uncapped pyramid, the all-seeing eye, the owl in the dollar in the corner, in the $1 in the corner, etc. I believe that was standardized under FDR.
Which is, as far as I can tell, that symbol never existed before Aleister Crowley brought it in, because a lot of these people are into him and his teachings. So I don't think that symbol existed before. I think he was that brought it to the forefront for the world leaders, because he's very influential with the world leaders and the rock stars of this day. To this day, he is. Let me see here. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
I've got my hand raised. How did Aleister Crowley come into prominence?
Oh, he's one of the
oh my gosh, yeah.
God,
he was an enlightened one out of the 1800s into the 1900s, into the 20th century. He was a mystic and he was a sick, twisted, psychotic.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely was.
Founder of the religion of Thelema, identifying himself as a prophet, entrusted with guiding humanity into the Aeon of Horus.
And that's what the eye is in the triangle. It's the Eye of Horus. It's an occultic god. But it's amazing to me how many prominent people just love this guy, and they are really into his teachings. You know, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin bought his house that overlooks Loch Ness in Scotland, which, by the way,
the Beatles.
Yeah, which, by the way, just recently burned to the ground. You can make out of that what you will. But yeah, I mean, they love this guy, and they love his teachings, and his teachings are all over the place. You can see his teachings a lot. You know, Jim Morrison was into him. The Beatles were into him. He's on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You can see his little head up there. I mean, this guy had a lot of influence over a lot of world leaders, U.S. presidents, And like I say, today's rock stars just love this guy. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how a guy like that gets a following if you really understand what he was teaching.
Well, that's before he got sucked into the intelligence agency, right, Joe?
Crowley, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, when he wrote the book, well, he wrote a lot of books. He wrote the Book of the Law and all this kind of stuff, and you would just be shocked at the things that this guy taught. That he would have this kind of a following. I mean, he believed in human sacrifice. He believed that a male child is the best sacrifice. I mean, he taught all this stuff, and then people are saying, well, he just meant that tongue in cheek. No, he didn't. That's not what he meant. He was really into all this stuff.
And considering what we talk now about censorship or not, writing the book, the written word, paper, being able to have it in print, his work was very documented for the time. It wasn't considered underground per se. It was considered higher up than for the masses, but it was out there for if the public knew where to look. It's just, think about that time when there wasn't the internet and telephones weren't, and you were just coming out of the age of the Pony Express, the radio.
Yeah, he was, I mean, people liked him because he was, counterculture in the Western world. He was a recreational drug user. He's, Barbara Bush's dad.
Yeah. One of his staples was Pauline Pierce, and Pauline Pierce was Barbara Bush, his mother. So we know that he knew her, and it's no coincidence that Barbara Bush looks exactly like him. I mean, come on.
It's pretty funny if you hold their pictures up together.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, if you were to take off Barbara Bush's hair, she looks just like him. You almost couldn't tell them apart.
Any occultist, of course, they gather a following.
They do. They do.
We have free choice on the planet whether to do good or do evil, and he kind of went the other way.
Oh yeah, he even said that he went to the dark side, and he says, and to this day, I can't tell you why. He just did it,
I don't know, to learn his lessons, I guess.
I guess. But anyway, he also said that he was a Luciferian. He believed in Lucifer. He called him a lot of different names, but he called him Lucifer. And he says, to this day, he says, I went over to Lucifer's side, and he even said, I wanted to be his chief of staff. He wanted to be Lucifer's chief of staff. That should tell you exactly where this guy stood.
Wow, something happened to Scooter's picture.
Oh.
You've turned green, Scooter.
I'm turning green.
There you are. Hello, Scooter.
There we go.
Just getting sick to my stomach. Because I
know.
Especially if they're saying that they're going over to the dark side. Everybody knows there is the light side.
Oh yeah, he made no bones about it. I mean, he didn't mince words. We knew where what this dude stood. I mean, where he stood and what his thoughts were, and believed what his beliefs were. I mean, he made no bones about it. And that's what I was talking about earlier. It's like, how does this guy get a following? How can people worship this guy knowing what he thought? I just don't get it.
Well, I
wonder what his kids are up to.
Better than he does.
What did his kids end up doing?
I don't know about that. He had a lot of illegitimate kids that we don't know exactly, where they're. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of them because he was a lot of these people. They hide their bloodlines. They don't want their bloodlines out there, especially if they're into the dark side and the occult, because the occult means hidden. Things are hidden.
Yeah,
so they like to hide their bloodlines.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't know how many kids he had or where they went, or who spawned who. That's because we don't have any official record that Barbara Bush was related to him, even though we know that she was. But we won't find that officially documented any place.
No, not for a while, maybe, but maybe on April 12th, people.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Let's see here.
Scooter, you almost look like you don't feel well.
He hasn't had enough Cokes and smokes.
No, I'm way too much Cokes, way too much smokes. I didn't sleep very well. Okay, Backlash, you'll know. So in the overnight last night, and unbeknownst to me until yesterday, a member of Winter Carnival passed away. And it's okay. It's all right. It's Sooty number 1. And hey, Backlash, there's a problem because I have to go home. And there is a rumor that the 1946 general was found. And I won't know until I get there. But we'll see. And that's the fire truck.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, you were sooty at one point, if I remember correctly, coming into my bar.
No, that's a rumor. Anyway, Don Fitch is the Prince of Soot number 1 from 1970, was when that character was created. And on social media, I posted the photograph of all of them on the truck. Well, now that he's left the bonds of Earth, it's amusing to me to see all of them. Okay, they're in heaven, just pissing the shit off of St. Peter, and having fun. But I've learned so much about my biological father since he died. And my fear is, okay, well, here's the last chapter. We're about to find out and here it comes. Backlash, guess where the funeral is going to be, or the wake and the funeral, the wake.
Someplace on Snelling.
It's on Snelling.
Yeah.
That's right. It's going to be a long day.
Wow.
So you have to take off?
Yeah. As soon as I'm done taping here, I have to go see my lawyer. I got to go see Concierti, and then the timetable. He passed on the Sunday night, Monday, so the wake will be at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, tomorrow, and then Catholic Mass and burial Thursday morning, 10 a.m. It's all right. Okay. Don't feel bad. You didn't kill him. And neither did COVID or anything else. 90 plus years old, and he lived 10 lives in one. So I hope I get to live that long, and I hope I get to have that colorful a life as Donnie did.
Now, do you know if they tried to make this COVID? Because they're doing that with a lot of people. No matter what you pass away of, they're trying to label as COVID. Do you know if they tried to do that?
I'll know that when I get home. None of us spoke other than, sorry to bug you. Yeah, bad news. Oh, no. Yeah, get home now. Why? And there was the jingle of keys and over the phone, and I went, you gotta be kidding me. And they went, nope.
What does that
mean? Wait a minute. I thought we destroyed that fire truck. Well, that was for the public. Yeah. No, we didn't. It's right here. We're looking at it. And I went, oh my God.
Oh, okay.
Not good. And now I can't believe I just said this, because this is going to go on. That's all right. Nobody listens and watches anyway. But what the hell are we going to do with that truck? Backlash. Do I just drive it down to Pool and Yacht and just throw it in the river?
I wouldn't do that. There's a lot of history, especially when you're stealing
it. The other one of this is sitting in that same river, because that's when I threw it off the deck. The pens. So we got gold pen and pencil sets when we had to sign away the company. And I put them in my pocket and walked out, and I just pulled one out and I threw it in right before I put the car in the river. Bad day. It's all right. I'm fine. We just got way tangented. I don't handle death well. But knowing that this is the last of the Gen 3s, they're now all laid. As of Thursday, they'll all be laid to rest.
So he's your uncle?
Nah, of another family relation, yeah. But so that means that I'm now the last, the oldest of the last now standing of the Gen 4s.
I was going to say Gen 4,
and
yeah.
I'm 54.
Oh.
And I just turned 54. And Jackie, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Guys don't walk around and go, hey, my birthday's next week. So sorry about that last night in the leisure podcast telling that story. I felt bad.
It's all right.
It's all good.
So I think
So
we
yeah,
should do another.
we may not have to worry about funding this show, because if they really found an antique fire truck, we're in a lot of trouble.
You have to drive it back here?
I don't know what I don't even know if this is true or not. I'll have to wait to go home. It's the same as when my biological father died. They're at the event. We'll go in another room and there will be envelopes, but apparently there's a set of keys. And the only thing I can think of is, oh my God, it's the truck.
Oh.
I don't know. We don't talk on the phone, because they spy. Rico isn't a relative.
You don't think they're spying on us right now? Oh my God.
I know they are.
Big tech. Oh man.
Oh,
So
boy.
I'm fine. It's just and then the more I think about where we are, the Ides of March, I'm thinking about Rome and the triumvirates versus the cupolas, and Jackie talking about as we come up to April 12th and these dramatic shifts of rising and crumbling.
Yep.
And all of the parallels from Roman times to now, to where they want us in this great reset of being green and being poor and having nothing and being happy. Kind of, it's a lot. I'm getting older by the day, and the gray hairs are getting worse. And Backlash is going to need another wheel for the hamster.
I know it's a lot to think about, but in the end, it's all good.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're learning lessons. Your whole list of karmas, like check, 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 check. Did it, did it, did it, did it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Anything
Right.
bad that we think is like hard to do, bad, whatever, we needed to clear that. We needed to learn that lesson as a soul. Come on, people. Are you with me? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I completely hear you on that.
I agree with Joe I'm on the fence about did we choose to
I see what you're saying.
Time.
Yeah, I'm not on board with that one completely either. But by the way, anytime I share an opinion, I could be wrong. So that I'm not saying this is written in stone. But I'm just not on board with that. But you know what? Yeah, I'm not on board with that one completely either.
Oh well, I'll turn you on to a few books.
Okay, all right. I'm always willing to explore. That's how we grow. That's how we figure things out. Go ahead.
Since Jackie, you were saying all the souls have to learn all these lessons. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Well, that's the point. Yeah, your soul is forever.
Okay.
Your soul is forever. It's your body. This meat bag that we're in today isn't going to be the meat bag that we step into. I mean,
right.
When this life ends, another door opens and your soul goes through that door. You don't get to go to, relaxation time unless you're Christ. He's the one that did all the lessons, ready to go. Why do you think he volunteered to be crucified? We're still talking about him all these years later.
Man, that means I've got another lifetime of this crap. Oh,
well, no, my sister says that too. And I'm like, no, your lessons are going to be different next time.
Oh, yay.
just what I want is more lessons. I haven't had enough lessons yet.
The good thing about what they say about reincarnation is, we've talked about this before, but your life flashes before your eyes. You get to view exactly what happened in this lifetime, and you're received with love on the other side. We all have guides who are, guiding us through this life to make sure we don't turn sharply this way or sharply that way, and to see that we're going to survive this lesson. People want us to on the other side. Souls want us to survive.
That just adds a ton of questions as to what was Scooter's lesson on this trip around.
Well, I don't. What about mine? We all have equal. I think between all of us, I don't know, Mark, your actual background, but I do know these other two fellas, and and me. I've had some horrifying traumas. You know what I mean? But that's why we're on here, because we know better. Who said that? That nobody. Oh, it was Voltaire. That you can't understand the beauty of art and the beauty of life unless you've gone to hell, and back with your experiences. I'm paraphrasing.
No, that's good. And thank you for sharing that, Jackie, because this whole time I I'd forgotten to change my name. So black helicopters over my house tonight. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, listen, sorry about that, Backlash.
It's all good.
No, it's all my fault. Yeah, and we're ending in 3, 2, 1, and we'll start over and do it in quick 10
Well,
minutes.
if you think about it, trauma, you don't grow without trauma. I mean, as much as it's painful to think about, because even going to the gym, the reason that my muscles get bigger is because I have to put them through trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they recover and they get bigger and I get stronger. So no matter what happens, trauma is what you grow from. It hurts to go to the gym. My muscles don't like what I put them through, but they grow. So it's kind of the same concept with who we are. We go through pain, we go through trauma, because we won't grow otherwise.
That's correct.
Joe, without outing your gym, I do have a question. Did they put the ashtrays back on the Stairmasters?
You're funny.
You're talking about cardio, so I don't do cardio. I don't go near that, so I'm not sure about that one. Oh my goodness.
Cardio's a myth. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, I know. I tell you. Well, guys, where do you think we're going from here? You're talking, Jackie, you were talking a little bit earlier about growing. We're talking as far as where we're going from here, as far as the world goes. What's a little bit different about what you were talking about earlier as opposed to what other people are calling the New World Order or the Great Reset, as far as the Great Awakening? Do you see them as the same thing, or are they two completely different things altogether?
Very interesting. Very, very beautiful question. The Greater Reset, the Great Reset. Sorry, there's a really great group of people who go by the Greater Reset, really smart people, if you ever want to look them up. But anyways, the Great Reset, of course, is energies to do with the off-world archontic people who want to control us and reduce our population, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, the awakening and all that stuff has to do with a new Earth and a new awakening, an age of Aquarius, where people are waking up to this. And if we awaken, we can go to the new Earth. We don't have to stay with the New World Order. That is not set. It is not set in stone at all. We have choice. We've been given free will. If you believe it's going to hurt you, if you believe you're going to be sitting in a corner starving to death, with all of your rights taken away and living under a bridge down by the river, then you will be. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But the whole idea is to believe that we are going to the place where there is no violence, where violence isn't tolerated. There's no need for violence.
But don't you think that a lot of the concept of the New World Order, because that's what they think that their New World Order is going to bring in. We even heard George Bush say that himself, where that the law of the jungle doesn't apply anymore. We're going to go into this utopia, this New World Order. So that's what they believe as well. I mean, how do we know? How do we keep the deception from one or the other?
Right. That's a very good point. They believe it is going to happen if they deplete our numbers, if they kill us all.
Right.
Because they don't believe that our soul is going to go on. They don't believe, they are not capable of perceiving, we've talked about this before, perceiving the greatness of the soul and the greatness of love. They don't have it because they vibrate down here in the lower regions.
They do. Right.
They're down here going, and we're like, and we're gone,
Mm-hmm. But they do believe in reincarnation. They do believe that they are reincarnated people from ancient pharaohs. They go down through the generations. So they believe in reincarnation as well for them.
They could be, but not everybody from Atlantis. Yeah, if you were talking about ancient Egypt, that means ancient Atlantis. And there were very bad people in Atlantis, which is why it sank.
And would that be a lower vibration? Because you're saying...
Sure, because they were experimenting with DNA. There's lots of, oh my God, you got to read that book on... Edgar, that I was flashing around last time. I gave Joe the titles. Did you put those up on conspiracykeepers.com?
I've got the titles to them. I have not posted them with the video from last time yet, but I'll get those up. I'll get them up.
That's cool.
I got them.
But all the tales of Atlantis are coming out, and Atlantis had, ancient knowledge and stuff like that, but they misused it. And that's what the Essenes were doing, and other mystery schools. They were teaching it to the good souls. They protected it. Why do you think they
now?
Yeah, well, that's why do you think they hid everything up in a cave, above the Dead Sea? when the Romans invaded the Essene community, they were laughing at their torturers because they knew they had to protect that knowledge and it couldn't fall into the wrong hands.
So how long is the age of Aquarius? How many years?
I don't know, but I'll ask Braca. She's so great. Braca Goldsmith.
Find out, because if you're thinking about the Great Reset, if the age of Aquarius is 6 or 7 years, then I could see that happening, especially the Great Reset of 2030, which you guys scared the living bejesus out of me on.
Well, that's their timeline, right? That the Greater Reset 2030 and all that stuff, that's their goal. But don't you understand? We have thwarted their efforts already with COVID. Remember, they thought COVID was going to bring us all into a corral, and it didn't. Why didn't it? Because not everybody got the shot. Not everybody believed. That's why they keep launching more and more attacks throughout history from the beginning of time.
We're going to have to wait on the data regarding Deltacron, but it looks like everybody's going to need another booster.
Oh, I can tell you, they're trying to spread it around here. The skies the last few days, you guys, holy cow, the spraying is insane.
Oh my gosh, I know. We had a completely overcast day a few days ago. There wasn't a single natural cloud in the sky, but it was overcast.
No, that's because they're trying to give us Domicron or whatever they're calling it, Deltacron, Cromny.
It's Deltacron.
They tell us what they're doing in signals. Delta is the pyramid. Delta is a pyramid. Omni in the original languages means eye. So they've got Delta and then Omicron right behind each other. You've got the triangle and the eye. So that they were even telling you it's the same thing. It's the eye and the triangle, which is their signal. So these variants were just an eye in the triangle, and we figured this out. They know what's going on, but the general public they're clueless as to what they're doing. They don't see the relationship.
On April 12th is going to be our day to see more souls seeking the awakening.
I hope so, but I tell you,
ding ding ding.
What I have found and what frustrates me to no end as far as the general population is they don't understand deception when they see it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? People just don't understand it.
No, there are people that want to stay asleep, and we can't change that. What we can do is shine our beacon to reach the ones that are on the fence a little bit. Really? No, you're kidding, Jackie. Why would you say that? Oh my God, I can't believe you believe that. Show me,
Yeah.
So there are people who are open to it.
Yeah, there are. And that's what we're about. But like I say, it's just so aggravating that people their eyes are just so closed, and it's kind of like trying to shine a brighter light on a subject to somebody who's blind. It doesn't matter how bright the light is; they still can't see it.
No,
they can't see.
No, they don't want to see it. There's going to be those. I mean, that's prophesied as well. Prophesied as well.
Well, those people are identifiable in their car by themselves with a mask on.
Oh my God, I have seen that so many times. I almost just want to, if I see that at a stoplight, I almost just want to get out and tell them, "Is there something wrong, sir? Are you trying to suffocate yourself? Are you okay?
Well,
hey, just relax. It'll be okay."
Or they're really, really weak older people that I see in the grocery store. Like you can tell that they're not well.
Yeah.
They're diseased and maybe, in treatment for cancer or something. And they have a double mask on still.
I know.
It's like your diseased body is not reacting well to you breathing your own waste.
No. Yeah. And that's why people are getting these upper respiratory infections, because of these masks. They're breathing in their own bacteria.
Oh, Lord, have mercy on us.
I'm so glad we reclassified sugar as a part of the food groups and as a food source.
When it's a drug.
Because now the media is able to gleefully talk about most Americans now are pre-diabetic. Because wait a minute. Excuse me? Yeah, most Americans are pre-diabetic. Whoa. What the is in the water supply doing that? Well, it's, thanks to our good friends at the sugar lobby. And every synthesized, whether it's high fructose corn syrup but all of it, all of the natural and synthetic sugars in everything, and how that's reacting to the plastics and whatever. Jackie and I did a thing with Scott last night. It was a joke, and not a joke. He made a comment about chicken pot pies, and I went, "Oh man, I missed those as a kid, and I missed the TV dinner in the aluminum tray." And yet we now learn cooking your food in aluminum, and then I was probably not like the Calphalon on the stove.
You got to throw that away. If you have any,
causing the Alzheimer's.
Anybody who has that, throw them away, and I mean right now.
No, right? No.
You cooking your eggs every morning on a non-stick pan, dude? You're cruising.
No.
You're cruising for some nice Alzheimer's.
Cast iron, but I still have the Calphalon from the early 80s. So argumentatively, all the anodized aluminum somebody else got. But no, my point is what we think was healthy. A TV dinner, TV tray and living room, and you had your dinner, and even that was not healthy. And somehow our parents thought that was.
Well, the thing is that we didn't have
we were told it was.
Yeah, we didn't have the level of food additives, however, back then.
No.
And the oil that they cook the little bag, the fried chicken thing, and then you bake it in the oven, it turns crispy. That stuff was not hydrolyzed GMO corn oil. Yeah, it wasn't poisoned back when we were little kids because we're that old.
Right. Yeah, now it's all synthetic. So, but I thought the interesting read, now the media is very worried about our health and the health of the children, because it turns out, wow, you mean making them wear a mask for 2 years in school? Not only are they absolutely retarded and didn't learn anything remotely, but now they have mental health issues.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely they do.
Using a child for 2 years now has mental health issues.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to have to classify it as a mental health so that we can provide the right, drugs to make them feel better.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Oh, look at what they've been conditioned to believe, that every human being is a potential biohazard. They're going to have problems with relationships.
Somebody's sick. I
know.
Couldn't handle that.
Yeah, right. I
mean, we're not on the same page.
I tell you what, this generation of kids that were young, having to live through this, they are going to have huge problems. We thought we had problems as we got older. That's nothing compared to what's going to happen to these kids that were young, dealing with this crap and all the stuff that they were told to believe.
We thought we had problems.
Just don't even, just even breathing around somebody is dangerous. It might kill them. So just hold your breath. Or, just ridiculous the stuff that they're telling these kids.
Right.
Conditioned to believe that everybody's a biohazard and even breathing can kill you. I mean, think about it.
Scare everybody. We're dropping the mask mandates for the adults. And now I'm just going to openly quote Adam Carolla, because he's nailed it. This is crate training the children. Yeah. Put them in the crate, get them in the crate, make them obey. And again, once you have the children, the mothers will follow, and the men have no choice after that. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are crate training an entire generation to be scared to death.
Oh, yeah.
Right. To their words of how they can be saved so they won't die, and that their loved ones won't die when we're all going to die.
Well, look at what how the cults control their followers or their initiates. They tell you isolate you from your family. Yeah. They tell you to ridicule anybody who's not part of us. It's us versus them.
Don't talk to them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this thing is just another cult is what it is, because that's how they get people through fear, and they tell them what to do. Okay, stay 6 feet away from everybody because everything's dangerous. And if you don't do what we say, you may die. That's what cults tell their followers. This whole thing has been controlled by cult mentality.
About your health, that if you don't do what we tell you, we'll shame you, punish you, fine you, and maybe imprison you. But it's for your own good.
And what is the altar they go to worship their cult leaders? The TV. Who's their high priest? Dr. Fauci. it's just textbook how cults work.
Notice how he's faded from the news.
He's
yeah,
getting
yeah.
a facelift and some Botox and some
He's already
hopefully
okay.
electroshock therapy.
Can I just be really, really catty for a
Go
moment?
for it. Absolutely.
Anybody who's on Capitol Hill, men or women, have had their eyelids removed. Look at Nancy Pelosi, look at Fauci. And you know how you can tell that? Is because this fold of skin that naturally comes over your eye is gone.
Yeah.
Right? They cut this whole thing off, and all you see is this bald little eyeball with really thin skin around it. Look at Fauci. Look at even stars, presidential candidates. Everybody's had their damn eyeballs removed, their eye skin removed. They think it makes you look younger because you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Your eye looks wide open.
Right. Okay.
All it does is make you look like you're beady-eyed. And you know how some people you'll see they can't close their eyes at the same time? Courtney Cox, great example.
Yeah. Right.
Because she's had the thing, and your eyes naturally don't do that. They don't close at the exact same time. But when you don't have an eyelid.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Right. Right.
Now you can see the imbalance. Trust me, I'm being catty, but oh my gosh, why do people get, and then filling their lips and stuff? Why do they do it, Joe?
I don't know. But well, that would make sense because those are all kind of rituals in a way. I mean, if you think about it, that would be a ritual for them to do. You know,
look at Pelosi. Her eyeball is way down there, just all on its own, and then this expanse in between her brow and her eyeball.
Yeah.
And she's just looking around like she's all beady-eyed, and it's all plastered back, and you got that look. Aren't I a bitch? I am such a bitch.
No. I mean, that would make sense because I mean, Scooter, we've talked about this before. Is a lot
Come
of the
on,
world
Scooter,
leaders...
you're not even laughing.
No, we had talked about something similar to that. The Black Eye Club. You know, do you remember talking about that? Where a lot of these people that are in positions of power, they come out with a black. Something happens to them in their rituals where they get a black eye. We've seen the popes, we've seen presidents, we've seen. I mean. It's all over the place. So yeah, I mean that would make sense, Jackie, because that's another ritual for them.
That's really gross. And it's supposedly that they look younger, but they do not look younger. They do not look younger. They look
no, they don't. They look just like and Joan Rivers, you know, had the facelift. It doesn't make her look younger. She looks the same age with her skin stretched out over her face. It looks like, you know, being caught in an elevator or something. It looks terrible.
Just terrible. All right, so that was me being catty. What's going on there, Backlash? You've said nothing.
I'm looking on eBay on hamster food right now, and but I a couple of things that stood out. I mean, I'd like to revisit the Black Eye Club at some point, Joe.
Okay.
And then
all right.
Also because you were talking about the triangle and what was the other one?
Omni. Yeah,
Omni
the eye in the triangle.
The eye in the triangle, which brings back to Horus, which also brings up Aleister Crowley.
Absolutely right. It's all tied together. They're all tied together.
I would love to be able to talk a little more in depth on Aleister Crowley. And I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and that's do some research. And
Oh, you'll have that's a light read.
Yeah, scare the crap out of myself a little bit more before we walk into it.
Okay.
I'll have to have somebody else press start because I'll be in a straitjacket.
Now listen, balance that out. It's all about, Steiner said it's about balance. If you learn stuff that's scary and weird and, you know, then you also have to balance it by building something positive for your spirit. So do me a favor, watch Braca Goldstein. Have you yet on YouTube?
Braca? No, I have not.
You've asked me before.
Yep. And I would like to look into a little bit more of the astrology.
She's so positive and so fun. And another guy who really, really brings you up, his name is Ralph Smart, Dr. Ralph Smart. And he talks about raising the vibration. He's really funny. He does a great, great thing. He's a, you know, motivational, well, I don't know what he studied originally, but he's a YouTube star now. And his page is called Infinite Waters by Ralph Smart.
Infinite Waters.
And he's so uplifting, but he talks about these shifts and stuff like that too. He puts it in a perspective that makes you feel like you're going to live through it.
Well, aren't you a ray
Right.
of sunshine? Well, gang, unfortunately, that's
All
going
right,
to do
guys.
it for us. I know, Scooter, you're heading back home, and we're
I'm
extremely
going to the
sorry.
lawyers. I got to go to the lawyers first, but the argument is that I'm going to have to attend a funeral. So if that is the case, it is what it is.
Yep. Well, we're definitely sorry for your loss. We hope
Absolutely.
hope you do get the keys and get some pictures of the truck. That would be awesome.
No,
Oh yeah. Bring
Is
some
there-
more truth.
Is there any crazy secret envelope like you see on when you go to the lawyer's office on TV shows where there's a secret, envelope and they left you some sort of valuable item?
Jackie, you think I'm kidding?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Is he
Where's
reaching for something? I don't know.
It's in a giant Glad Ziploc bag.
Oh, he's already gotten the
Oh,
envelope.
okay. Okay.
Oh, so you got something. What is it? A stock?
So the last time I had to do this was having to hold court for the passing of my father, in which these were passed down to me, amongst other things, that one generation to the next. This is not, it's not a loss to a family member, it's a loss to a family friend, it's another family. But the good news is that I don't have to hold court. I just don't know what's going to happen when court is held. I'll be able to tell you more once I go, if I have to go. Yeah, it's envelopes and it's keys.
Yeah.
And it's very stressful.
Well,
But
you're the
that's
oldest.
just the world from where I came from.
Yeah, you're the oldest of the fourth generation, which is why I think that there's something else for you.
I don't know what that is, but yeah, correct. So with this last passing, that's now the end of the Gen 3s.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and forgive, Donnie was in his 90s, but he wasn't. Donnie, it's funny, as we get older, we still look at the people that we love as when we knew them as young.
Sure.
We'll still see our grandparents in the memory of their vibrantness, not when they were rotting in the nursing home or whatever.
Yeah, it's called love.
And
yes.
And I'm not saying that was Donnie's image of rotting in a nursing home. That wasn't the case. It's just so larger than life as a child he was, as they all were. I mean, Joe, the characters in Backlash, you've seen them. I mean, it's just they were larger than life. And those memories are what I remember, not, God, he looks old. No, even because the call that I had to make was the one to the gen under me. Hey, you need to know so-and-so just died. He goes, yeah, I know. And he immediately started imitating Donnie's voice. And I was on the verge of tears of emotion, sad. And Rudy immediately 180'd me, and I started laughing hysterically as he was doing Donnie's voice and saying what Donnie used to say to us. And
Well, congratulations.
now in the world
You're still human.
political correctness and all that, you can't even talk like that anymore.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Backlash,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, unfortunately,
Backlash saw the cast of characters of Winter Carnival. Some would say behaving badly, and some would say behaving the way
just being
Carnival
themselves.
characters did.
Yep.
But he was a lot more than a character. They all were, and I idolized and grew up with all these guys. They were superheroes in capes. It's kind of weird.
Well, we're
So
sorry,
what
honey.
Court is going to have, I don't know. The last time it was envelopes and keys. This time it could be a pie in the face, a smack in the ass, and drive that thing home. I don't know.
All right,
It's
let
not
us
my
know.
circus, not my monkeys anymore.
Right.
Well, keep us all posted, Scooter.
Yes.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us. And on Thursday, do us a big favor, go out and hoist a pint or two on St. Patty's Day. I might.
And today, watch out for anybody who has a grievance against you.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
all
beware
again
if
for,
if a court jester comes running in the room. Get your back up against a wall quick.
Mhm.
Watch for crows flying around your house.
great. Well, thank you. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on another on the Ides of March episode of the Conspiracy Keepers. Jackie, Joe, Scooter, thank you all for joining us. Be
Thanks,
safe
guys.
out there.
Thank you.
Okay, until next time.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.